The wedding of Jason Duggar and Maddie Grace on October 3, 2025, marked an unexpected break from tradition within the Duggar family, a family known for its conservative values and structured way of life. Fans who had followed the Duggars for years through shows like 19 Kids and Counting On were taken aback by one particular detail of the wedding. For the first time in Duggar family history, there was a dance floor at the celebration. This development quickly became the subject of discussion, as many fans wondered how this decision aligned with the family's long-established customs. In a typical Duggar wedding, dancing is not part of the festivities, much less a designated space for it. So when Jason and Maddie tied the knot and included a dance floor, it represented a significant departure from the Duggar family's usual practices. This curiosity was further amplified when Jeremy Voillo, Jinger Duggar Voillo's husband, revealed the surprising detail during an episode of their The Jinger and Jeremy podcast on October 23, 2025. The shock came not only from the presence of the dance floor itself, but also from the broader cultural context of the Duggar family. The Duggars have always been a symbol of conservative Christian values, particularly when it comes to courtship, modesty, and family life. The idea of dancing, often seen as a social activity that could lead to temptation or inappropriate behavior, had long been avoided at Duggar weddings. So, the presence of a dance floor at Jason's wedding raised many eyebrows. In this article, we will delve deeper into the significance of this shift, exploring the cultural reasons behind the Duggar family's avoidance of dancing at weddings and how Jason and Maddie's choice to include a dance floor might signal a new chapter for the Duggar family. We'll also explore the humorous and candid moments that arose from the wedding, as well as the larger implications for how the Duggar family is evolving as a whole. Hey, everyone! I'm excited to share updates about the Roloff family on my channel. If you're interested in keeping up with the latest news and insights, please consider subscribing. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you. To understand the significance of Jason and Maddie's decision to have a dance floor at their wedding, we need to first examine the Duggar family's historical approach to weddings. Over the years, viewers of 19 Kids and Counting On have seen countless Duggar weddings, many of which followed a familiar pattern. The weddings are large, family-oriented events, with a strong emphasis on religious ceremonies and traditional values. One of the key aspects of Duggar weddings that has been repeatedly emphasized in the family's shows is the absence of dancing. For Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the parents of Jason and his siblings, dancing was seen as a potential gateway to inappropriate behavior. In the Duggar family's worldview, public displays of affection and physical closeness, especially before marriage, are to be avoided at all costs. As a result, dancing, an activity that involves close physical proximity and often exuberant emotional expression, has been conspicuously absent from Duggar weddings. The family's strict rules regarding physical boundaries before marriage, including refraining from hand-holding or even side hugs before engagement, extend to dancing as well. There was a prevailing belief that dancing could lead to temptation or cause individuals to lose sight of their commitment to purity and modesty. This belief was, of course, a reflection of the Duggar family's conservative Christian values, which place a strong emphasis on maintaining moral and ethical standards in all aspects of life, particularly in relationships. In the past, Duggar weddings have focused on the solemnity of the marriage vows, with an emphasis on faith, family, and community. The idea of celebrating with music and dancing simply did not align with the values that the Duggars upheld in their religious practices. This meant that weddings were not the extravagant, party-like events that many people are familiar with, but rather formal ceremonies that were steeped in tradition and modesty. For fans who had followed the Duggar family for years, the inclusion of a dance floor at Jason and Maddie's wedding was a surprising development. It represented a break from the usual expectations, leaving many wondering whether it signaled a shift in the family's values or simply a more relaxed approach to wedding traditions. The news about the dance floor came from an unexpected source, Jeremy Voillo and Jinger Duggar Voillo, who shared the details during their The Jinger and Jeremy podcast. Jeremy, who married Jinger in 2016, has always been more open to embracing contemporary culture compared to some of his in-laws. Jinger, too, has demonstrated a willingness to adopt more modern practices, particularly after moving to California with Jeremy. In their podcast, Jeremy and Duggar were both clearly amused by the unexpected developments at Jason and Maddie's wedding. Jeremy described the wedding as wild in a playful tone, acknowledging that there were several moments that broke from Duggar tradition. Duggar, meanwhile, admitted that dancing was not part of the culture at all for the Duggars, describing it as an interesting experience to see her family out on the dance floor. While the idea of a dance floor was unexpected, Duggar explained that there were moments when the dance floor was actually quite lively, especially when songs like the Cha-Cha Slide or YMCA were played. These songs, which include dance instructions, made it easier for people who were not accustomed to dancing to join in. In those moments, the dance floor would fill up, only to empty out again once the next song played. According to Duggar, it was a funny and somewhat awkward scene. Jeremy also described how he felt bad for the DJ, who was trying his best to get the guests to dance. The DJ was clearly struggling with the lack of participation, and Jeremy went over to explain the situation. "Bro, do you have any idea what you gotta do at this wedding?" Jeremy asked, to which the DJ responded, "No, but it's wild." Jeremy then reassured the DJ, saying, "You just need to know, they don't dance." This moment of humor highlighted the stark contrast between the typical wedding atmosphere and the reality of a Duggar family celebration. While the presence of a dance floor at Jason and Maddie's wedding was a surprising shift, it's important to understand why the Duggars have traditionally avoided dancing at weddings. The reason, as Duggar Vuolo explained, is simple. No one knows how to dance. While some of her siblings may have taken dance lessons in the past, Duggar emphasized that dancing is not part of the Duggar family's cultural upbringing. For many of the Duggar children, dancing simply wasn't a skill that was nurtured or encouraged. The lack of dancing in the Duggar family is not just about a lack of skills. It's also about adhering to deeply held values. The Duggars' conservative Christian lifestyle dictates that certain activities, like dancing, which involves physical closeness between men and women, should be avoided in order to maintain purity and modesty. The Duggar children are raised to view physical boundaries before marriage as vital to upholding their faith and maintaining personal integrity. For those who have followed the Duggars' journey through the years, the avoidance of dancing was simply another expression of their commitment to living a life of faith and discipline. It was an intentional choice that reflected their worldview, which prioritized emotional and spiritual connection over physical expression. When the DJ played songs like the Cha-Cha Slide or YMCA, which involved group participation and specific steps, it allowed people to join in without needing any prior dance experience. This made it easier for the Duggar family members to feel comfortable enough to step onto the dance floor, though it was still clear that dancing was not something they did regularly or comfortably. It wasn't that the family members didn't want to dance. It was simply that dancing was outside their cultural norm and comfort zone. The inclusion of a dance floor at Jason Duggar's wedding may have been a small gesture, but it represents something larger, a potential shift in how the Duggar family approaches certain aspects of life. While the family's core values remain the same, it's possible that the younger generation of Duggars is beginning to embrace more modern practices and lifestyles. As more of the Duggar children marry and start families of their own, they may start making choices that reflect their unique perspectives on life, love, and tradition. For Jason and Maddie, the inclusion of a dance floor at their wedding may have simply been a way to make their celebration more personal and reflective of who they are as a couple. They may have seen it as a way to bring some joy and lightheartedness to their big day, without compromising their values or religious beliefs. If Jason and Maddie's wedding is any indication, it's possible that future Duggar weddings may continue to incorporate more contemporary elements, even if those elements don't align with every Duggar tradition. While the family will likely always place an emphasis on faith, family, and modesty, it's clear that the next generation of Duggars may choose to express those values in different ways. As the Duggar family continues to grow and evolve, their weddings and the way they celebrate may reflect the changing times. Whether or not the dance floor becomes a regular fixture at Duggar weddings remains to be seen, but it's clear that the family's traditions are not set in stone. The Duggars have always valued family unity and togetherness, and as they continue to navigate the balance between tradition and modernity, they will likely continue to redefine what it means to live a life of faith and integrity. For now, fans can only watch and speculate, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in the Duggar family's journey. Hey, everyone! I'm excited to share updates about the Roloff family on my channel. If you're interested in keeping up with the latest news and insights, please consider subscribing. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you. When Jason Duggar, one of the famous 19 children from the Duggar family, married Maddie Grace on October 3, 2025, the event was not just another wedding. It was a significant moment in the Duggar family's evolving story, especially when considering their long-held traditions and values, which have been so well documented over the years. Fans of the Duggar family, who have followed their lives through shows like 19 Kids and Counting On, are always watching for signs of change. And when Jason and Maddie tied the knot in early October, many began speculating about the couple's post-wedding plans, particularly their honeymoon destination. While Jason and Maddie's wedding was already a topic of conversation because it deviated from the Duggar family's usual wedding traditions, a new question arose. Did Jason and Maddie head to Greece for their honeymoon? This speculation, of course, led to further questions about whether the couple might have broken some of the Duggar family's notoriously strict rules. Given the Duggar family's traditional Christian upbringing, fans began to wonder whether Jason and Maddie's honeymoon plans represented a shift in how the family views things like travel, relationships, and intimacy. The Duggars are famously conservative, particularly when it comes to issues of courtship, relationships, and their approach to public life, so this curiosity isn't surprising. To understand why the honeymoon speculation is so intriguing, we first need to look at Jason Duggar and Maddie Grace's relatively quick courtship and wedding. Jason and Maddie's relationship moved at a fast pace, much like the other Duggar courtships that have been heavily documented on television. The two were engaged in a short period, only a couple of months after getting to know one another. In Duggar family culture, engagements are often kept brief, with courtship and marriage happening relatively quickly. Jason and Maddie's wedding came as no surprise to the Duggar family's fans who have been accustomed to the idea of courtships leading to marriages in the span of a few months. However, Jason's marriage to Maddie was slightly different. He had only been in a relationship with her for about 3 months before their engagement, which is notably fast compared to many other Duggar couples. At their wedding, Jason's brother, Jedediah Duggar, served as his best man, signaling the family's usual emphasis on sibling support and the tight-knit family dynamic that is central to their lifestyle. This also underscored how this wedding, while exciting and special, still followed many of the same traditions the Duggar family is known for. So, when fans began hearing rumors about a potential honeymoon in Greece, it wasn't just about the location, it was also about the implications such a trip could have. For the Duggar family, travel outside of the United States, particularly to a country like Greece, seemed like an unusual choice. Many fans couldn't help but wonder if Jason and Maddie might be breaking from Duggar customs, or if this was just another misunderstanding. As fans looked into the details surrounding Jason and Maddie's wedding, the question of a honeymoon destination became a central point of curiosity. Greece is known for its beautiful landscapes, romantic settings, and historic significance, making it a popular honeymoon destination for many couples. So, when fans heard whispers about Jason and Maddie possibly honeymooning there, they began to wonder, could this be true? Greece, with its picturesque islands and ancient ruins, is a far cry from the more conservative, family-centered vacations that the Duggar family has typically chosen in the past. For example, previous Duggar couples have opted for more private, low-key destinations for their honeymoons, staying closer to home or within the U.S. The idea of a Duggar couple heading overseas to a country known for its vibrant culture, beaches, and romantic atmosphere seemed like a big departure from what fans might have expected. Moreover, some fans noted that the Duggar family is often portrayed as being wary of foreign travel, especially to places with different cultural norms or where more secular attitudes might prevail. Greece, being a predominantly Orthodox Christian country, might not be viewed as problematic from a religious standpoint, but its more liberal cultural values, particularly in the areas of romance and personal freedoms, might make it seem out of place for a Duggar honeymoon. However, despite the rumors circulating online, there was no official confirmation from Jason, Maddie, or the Duggar family about whether or not they went on a honeymoon to Greece. Fans continued to speculate, pointing to pictures or clues that might suggest the couple had traveled to a foreign destination, but no definitive information surfaced to settle the debate. As fans wondered about the honeymoon destination, some also began to speculate that Jason and Maddie might have broken some of the Duggar family's famous rules. These speculations were based on a combination of Jason and Maddie's relatively quick engagement, the possibility of foreign travel, and the more secular nature of a place like Greece. One of the most prominent rules the Duggar family is known for is the strict approach to courtship. The Duggar children are raised to believe in a courtship process that involves not only the family's approval but also careful attention to physical boundaries. These boundaries often include things like no hand-holding until engagement and no kissing until marriage. This emphasis on purity has been a central aspect of the Duggar family's teachings, and it's something that has played a prominent role in the courtships of many of the Duggar children, including Jason. Some fans questioned whether Jason and Maddie's engagement, which came after just 3 months of courtship, violated the Duggar family's traditional timeline for getting to know one another. While many Duggar couples have courted for longer periods of time before becoming engaged, Jason and Maddie's quick progression raised eyebrows among some viewers. Was their courtship timeline too fast? And could this have led to other potential deviations from the Duggar family's customary practices? Another aspect that raised questions was the potential for Jason and Maddie to have broken the Duggar family's views on modesty and public behavior. As is often the case with Duggar weddings, there is a strong emphasis on maintaining a certain level of modesty, not only in dress but also in behavior. This includes avoiding any display of excessive affection before marriage. The Duggar family has traditionally been very conservative when it comes to physical boundaries, especially in public spaces. With the speculation about a honeymoon in Greece, fans began to question whether Jason and Maddie might have broken away from these traditional views in other ways. For example, did they break from Duggar tradition by traveling to a location known for its more liberal cultural values? Did their trip to Greece signify a deeper shift in their attitudes toward physical boundaries, public displays of affection, or the expectations placed on Duggar couples? However, it's important to note that none of these speculations have been confirmed, and it's also possible that these assumptions are based on misunderstandings. Jason and Maddie, like all couples, are allowed to make their own choices, and while their wedding was certainly a big event for the Duggar family, it's unlikely that any significant rules were broken in the process. One thing that has been evident in the Duggar family's public life is that their traditions, while deeply rooted in their religious convictions, are also evolving as the children grow older and start families of their own. Jason's wedding to Maddie is a perfect example of how the younger generation of Duggars is beginning to carve out their own path while still maintaining core aspects of the family's culture. While many of the Duggar children still uphold the family's traditional beliefs around courtship, modesty, and family, there has been a noticeable shift in how some of these values are applied in their lives. For example, some Duggar children, like Jinger Duggar Vuolo, have made choices that reflect a broader worldview, including living in California and adopting a more modern lifestyle. Similarly, Jason and Maddie's wedding, with its potential honeymoon to Greece, could be seen as a small, yet significant, reflection of the evolving nature of the Duggar family's approach to life. Perhaps their decision to travel somewhere more exotic and culturally different was a way to reflect their own personal preferences and independence, rather than a complete break from family tradition. Hey, everyone! I'm excited to share updates about the Roloff family on my channel. If you're interested in keeping up with the latest news and insights, please consider subscribing. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you. Whether or not Jason and Maddie Duggar went on a honeymoon to Greece remains a mystery, but their wedding and the ensuing speculation show how the Duggar family's story is continuing to unfold in ways that fans may not have expected. For those who have followed the Duggar family for years, watching them navigate their traditional values while also exploring new experiences is a fascinating journey. As Jason and Maddie settle into married life, it's clear that they are carving out their own identity within the broader Duggar family narrative. Whether their honeymoon plans involved Greece or not, what matters most is that they're starting this new chapter of their lives together, and fans are eagerly watching to see how their story continues to evolve. In the end, while rumors and speculation about Jason and Maddie's honeymoon will likely continue to swirl, one thing is certain: their wedding and life together represent the continuing transformation of a family that has long been in the public eye, making choices that reflect both their personal values and the traditions that have shaped their lives. As the Duggar family story unfolds, fans will continue to look for clues and insights into how the next generation of Duggars is defining their own paths.